準啱啊！但係有時你係最準，你幫到波係你射。
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the post-game press conference for the FIBA Asia Cup Qualifiers Group B game between the Philippines and Hong Kong, China. Philippines defeated Hong Kong, China with a score of 93-54. Hong Kong, China head coach Chiu Wing-leung and player Duncan Reed have joined us, so may I ask you to switch off your phones. The press conference will be conducted in English. Translating for us also tonight will be Duncan Reed. First, Coach, your thoughts about the game.
我覺得我哋隊波喺打完上一場波之後，今日嚟到對菲律賓進攻嗰度，我係上半場幾滿意我哋啲外圍射手嘅。咁我哋有得同對手咬緊，都係靠推快嘅節奏外圍投射。咁第二樣嘢就係、可能我哋去到第三節有啲急啦。咁我哋個防守開始做得冇咁好，但係有啲好嘅地方係我哋仍然有 keep 到，就係第三節我哋嗰個進攻節奏做到。去到做晒所有戰術執行，只不過係臨尾嗰個完結，最後唔係入波。咁呢度我哋成個教練團都滿意球員做到呢樣嘢嘅。咁個溝通，我覺得我哋隊波需要再多啲啦。咁可以令到進攻防守嗰度大家都唔會產生一啲誤會。整體我覺得兩場波咁計，今日我哋無論場入邊同場出邊嘅 bench 嗰個球員嘅氣氛或者整體性，我覺得係進步咗嘅。
First of all, Coach would like to say in the first half, offensively we improved. And you can see Gilas is a very strong team, and the fact that we were able to keep the score close showed that we did a good job of knocking down our shots and pushing the tempo. In the third quarter, even though we ran our plays and got good looks, we weren't able to make some shots. And with the quality of a team like Gilas, the gap opened up a bit. But Coach is very happy with how we played offensively and the adjustments we made both within the coaching staff and within our players. One thing that we do need to continue to work on is our ability to talk and our ability to communicate on the court. But overall, Coach is very happy with how we played tonight.
Thank you for the translation, Duncan. And now your own thoughts on the game.
We knew coming in tonight was going to be very tough after Gilas just beat New Zealand. They're riding high. But like Coach said, I'm very proud of how our guys played tonight, especially the first half, keeping the game close. When you have twin towers of Junmar and Kai, it's going to be tough. So me and Simba and Bongbong 35, we did our best. But at times, there's just not much we can do. I feel like also we are getting better each game, but we need more time to develop. I think in the third quarter, we rushed, and defensively, we weren't really as stable and as solid as we could have been. I think we were better than the score shows. I think, oftentimes it should have been a 20, 25-point game instead of a 40-point game, but that's something that we can learn from. Overall, our team is still quite young. I'm getting old, but I'm hoping that the young guys can improve, and next window we can have some better games.
Thank you for that, Duncan. Now we're opening the floor to questions from the media. Just introduce yourself with your name and the media entity that you are representing. Any questions?
My question's for Duncan. Duncan, the first time you played here was 2013, right? Same arena. And in that game, Hong Kong, I remember, gave Gilas a very tough match in the FIBA Asia Championship. Could you just contrast that game and the circumstances then to the here and now?
I think it's very interesting. That was 11 years ago. I think back then we were a little bit more lucky. Gilas, I think, had one of the worst shooting nights they had of their whole FIBA Asia. And also, I think Marcus Douthit was dealing with an injury. So we were a little bit more able to get the ball inside more and score. And defensively, we got lucky. There are a couple of times that I think Larry and a couple guys were open and they just missed shots. Tonight, I think they shot a much better clip. But also, you can see the development of Gilas players that with Coach Tim and everything, you guys have really taken that next step forward. And I think, honestly, that the team tonight was a much tougher game for us. I think the Hong Kong team tonight was honestly a little bit less experienced than that team, so we were a little bit worse, and Gilas was definitely better, and I think that was shown in the final score.
Hi, Luis Ligas from Tiebreaker Times. Duncan, although this is not for this game, You have a couple. You played for the PBA under the Bay Area Dragons, and now you have a couple of teammates on your team who are under Hong Kong Eastern.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for them heading into the next PBA season, and what tips can you give them from your experience?
First of all, enjoy it. PBA has some of the best fans in Asia. You know, I still have people coming up to me asking about Bay Area, and that was a really special time for me. So I tell those guys, enjoy it. You're never really going to have, maybe they have hopefully multiple years here, but to make the most of it, enjoy every single game. Also to learn. The PBA has a very specific style. I played in China for 2 years, and the PBA style is very different to the Chinese style. So there's a lot of stuff that you can learn and develop, but also be careful. You know, the Filipino PBA guards are very skilled, and there's a certain type of offense that they push. I won't get into too much details, but I told them to kind of be ready for that and be ready for the physicality. But those guys are all experienced guys, and I think they're going to do really well. You know, I'm going to be watching those games and hoping that they really represent Hong Kong well.
Duncan Ernest from Tiebreaker Times. How important do you think that those teammates of yours that will be playing in the PBA got an earlier taste of playing in the MOA arena in such a big crowd, like you said, which has some of the best fans in Asia before that PBA Commissioner's Cup?
I think it's really good. I think it's also really good that they got to play against guys like Junmar and Scotty and JB, so they can see kind of what they're getting into. You know, you're not going to have a PBA team that's as stacked as Gilas, but at the same time, you get to see the physicality, the skill, and those 3 guys, I think, on our team who are playing, they're all younger guys. So that's the first time they've played against those guys, so it was eye-opening, to be honest. So hopefully they can prepare and they can play well throughout the whole conference.
Final call for questions for Hong Kong. If there will be none, then gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us in this press conference. That will be the end of the first part. We'll be back with the Philippines after a quick break.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome to the second part of our press conference. You are now joined by Philippines head coach Tim Cone and Carl Tamayo. First, Coach Tim, your thoughts about the game.
Well, we didn't play a real great first half. It was a struggle for us in the first half, and they were getting open threes and shooting them, and that's a concern we have, obviously, over this window because we've given up a lot of three-point shots. And we did that in the first half against New Zealand as well, so that's a concern for us. But second half, I felt we came out and we got to the shooters a little better. We scrambled a little bit more. You know, we should get out there because we've got protection behind us in Junmar and Kai. So really no excuse. So it's a little bit bothersome that we're allowing that many three-point shots. But I thought also offensively we moved the ball a lot better in the second half. I think we had only 9 assists in the first half, and we had 15 in the second. So we moved the ball a lot better, and you know that when the ball moves, I think everybody feels like they're involved, and it carries over to the defensive side as well. And we started defending better. So we're really dependent on our ball movement.
Thanks, Coach Carl. Your thoughts about the game?
Yun nga sabi ni Coach Tim, dapat laro namin yung gusto namin laro. Dapat hindi kami bumaba sa level kung sino man kalaban namin. Dapat mag-stick kami sa anong goal namin, which is medyo struggle kami ng first half, but no second half nag-pick up naman kami and nagtulungan kami. Nag-execute kami ng second half, so yun.
Loosely translating for our English-speaking audience, Carl said that they are supposed to play the way they're supposed to play, not to go to the level of their opponents, and that they made their changes in the second half. Any questions from the members of the media?
You don't have to.
Coach Tim, how would you assess the performance of the young guys, Carl, Kevin, and even Mason?
Well, I think the one sitting next to me, Carl, I told him, remember I told you coming out in the first half, you know, he got out, he hit a three-point shot, he went to the basket, he had a post up, he had an offensive rebound, that all scores, and that's what, you know, we're looking for our young guys. We want to use their total game, and that's the case with him, that's the case with KQ. And even Mason, you know, Mason is a specialist in terms of taking three-point shots, but we're trying to get him to expand his game as well. And I won't stop saying this. They are, you know, the superstars of this team, you know, down the road. And they're still, you know, learning and feeling their way. I get on Carl hard, as he knows. And, you know, trying to, you know, we all come into the team with different habits, and so it's really trying to get us all on the same page and creating the same habits so we can all play together and read each other together. And so, you know, this is not as we always keep saying, this is not an all-star team. You know, we're not out there to showcase our individual skills. And, you know, we got to come together as a team, and sometimes it takes some hard coaching. And that's what I love about this team. They really accept that idea, and it makes it so much easier from a coaching standpoint to handle this team. And I love this team.
More questions from the media?
Good evening, Coach Tim. Congratulations on the win. In the previous win, your big guys showed out, and now, obviously, it's the wings, the young wings. Can you say that the team is steadily already getting used to your system, and what's your optimism on that? Especially, you will have 2 away games in February.
Yeah, the 2 away games we're going to have in February is going to be the toughest part of this window. 2 toughest teams, and both on the road. It's going to be a tough load for us, and we're already looking forward to that challenge. You know, with the short preparation time and the big gaps between the windows, it's hard to keep everybody updated on the system and how we do things. I was telling the guys that on the first practice that we had coming back, I kind of assumed that they would know everything because we just came from the OQT a few months ago. But, they go back and they start playing a different system and they completely forgot. And I was like, oh man, I couldn't believe our first practice. But by our second practice, the memory chips were starting to work a little bit, and by the third and fourth, we were coming together. So we have to really go back to basics and get back to our base first before we can build. And so it's always like back to zero whenever we come together and try to build. But I felt this time, by the third or fourth day, we were already starting to elevate our game and getting it at previous high. So the whole point of these windows is to get better, use the experience that we had playing in this window and add that to the experience we had in the OQT, and hopefully that elevates our game going into the next window where now we're going on the road. And that's going to be important for us to learn, because we're going to have to learn how to play on the road and win on the road. It's always great to have our fans and full houses here. It's awesome. But when we get on the road, we have to be able to play at the same level. And because all of our tournaments that we play are going to be on the road. We had that one opportunity in the World Cup in 2023 to play at home, but now all of them are going to be on the road. So we got to learn how to play well on the road.
Hi, Coach Tim. Juno from News 5 Digital. The crowd was cheering "We Want Dwight" earlier. Can we get an update on him?
Well, he was injured. Now, I remember there was a fan in the front row along the basket, and I told him he was injured. I can't play him, and he still kept saying, "We want Dwight. We want Dwight." Yeah, I mean, I love Dwight. I mean, I'm like all the girls, I love Dwight. I just love him for different reasons, right? I mean, I love him for his basketball mind and his talent. He's got an incredible basketball mind. The girls like him for his looks. I can't like him for his looks, but I like him. I mean, I love him for his brain and basketball brain, and so I, more than anybody, want to put him on the floor. I guarantee you that. I wasn't holding him out for any other reason from the fact that he had pulled his calf muscle in the late stages of the New Zealand game. He practiced yesterday, tried to practice yesterday. He tried to do our shoot around today. We weren't sure until he came to the game. We said he's going to try to warm up and see how it was, but he was still feeling pain. And, obviously, to be honest, I would have pushed him harder to play if we were playing New Zealand, but we felt that we could, rest him and be careful with him in this game. I thought, and that's best for him because he's got to go back and play in Japan and keep his career going. We didn't want to blow that calf out. On the other hand, we got to start thinking about maybe we're doing something wrong because we're having a lot of calf injuries. Calvin got a calf injury as well, and we weren't sure he was even going to play against New Zealand. So we've been careful with his minutes as well. So they were calling them the calf brothers. The players they were calling them the calf brothers, Calvin and Dwight, and even Justin had a calf problem during the finals and talking text that we had a hard time managing. So we got to maybe look at what we're doing and maybe figure out that we are not stretching those calves out as much as we should. But that was the reason. I mean, I would have loved to have played him, but I was under orders from the training staff that he should not play. So I got to do what's best for him. Even though I know the crowd would have loved to even, Al Francis Chua suggested, why don't we just put him in for 30 seconds and he can just stand in the corner of the court. And I go, I don't know if that'll work. So I didn't do that.
Coach Denison.
Yeah.
Coach, talk about the, I guess, value of not playing without let-up against Hong Kong, especially after you've crushed them by 30 in the past window.
Hey, Denison. Well, the thing is that we didn't crush them. We were hoping to do that in the first half. We kept them in the game, and we were talking at halftime. They make a couple of three-point shots. Maybe, we fumble the ball, and they're right back in the game, and you just don't know. So you got to really step on the pedal and really go after them. And ironically, it was our youth that went out there and got the separation, which was just what the doctor ordered for us. We needed to get that separation, and we did. They're a very, very, very good shooting team. That first half, when they were hitting their threes, some of them were deep, some of them were challenged, but they were making threes. They kind of dried up a little bit on the second half, but I think that was also a function of us getting out and going. But I think what you're trying to say is we want to continue our habits. You know, we have such a short window to be together that we have to use every moment we have to get better. Because, you know, we don't have a month or two, or, you know, or a continuity over time to get better. So the moments that we do have, and that's what I like about this team, they understand that. And they're trying to get better all the time, in each game, in each practice. They take everything serious.
Thank you, Coach.
Carl, question for you. 16 points in just 17 minutes. You top scored for Gilas in this game. It's your high watermark in terms of points since you joined the Gilas. Can you just talk about your performance tonight? You and of course KQ and Mason.
I think our veterans always talk to us to be confident every time we step on the floor. And we had a chance to play, but we tried to put our talent in the system of Coach Tim, which we're trying. And I think I just took some shots that I made. I'm just very happy for it. And yeah, that's it.
Coach Tim, always Gilas is a New Zealand win away from securing a FIBA Asia Cup berth. So in the next window, can we see more additions to the pool, or will we see continuity with the core 15-man pool that you currently have as of the moment?
That's something that's going to be assessed. You know, this whole year, as we said earlier before this window started, is a trial year in terms of how are we going to do this. You know, we came up with an idea and a plan, and then, you know, I mean, you know, I'm just playing off the coattails of Chot Reyes and Coach Tab Baldwin in terms of, you know, they are the ones that got all the players. They're the ones that set this whole thing up, and I've just been able to play off of what they originally got everything together. And I've been fortunate to have the support of all the stakeholders, and that wasn't always the case. So that's been real big for me from a coaching standpoint. And I've been fortunate and really blessed to have all this support that we've been getting. But I kind of lost my track here. What did you ask me?
The pool, Coach, the pool.
The pool, that's right. Get back to that old question about the pool. Everybody's, you know, that's something that we're going to assess. I am less likely to want to increase the pool. I think the more you increase the pool, the more teaching you have to do, and you have to keep if you can keep a core going all the time and really focus on that core, keep it a tight group, then that core is going to get better. If you start expanding the pool, you have to go back to zero and start teaching all over again everything that you've taught. And so the pattern of the short windows prevents you from having those 4 to 6 week preparation times. Now it's 5 days, 4 days. So if you bring 20 guys in, you have to teach 20 guys how to do things in 4 or 5 days, and it gets really hard. So it's better if we can tighten up. But again, that's something we're going to assess. Everything's going to be assessed. The coaching staff's going to be assessed. The players are going to be assessed. Everything's going to be assessed by year end. And but hopefully, you know, everybody's, you know, all the higher ups are pleased with what's been going on, and they're going to want to keep a continuous program going. But that doesn't mean we don't make a tweak here or there, personnel-wise, system-wise, whatever. You know, we could very easily make a tweak here and there, anything that could make us better moving forward.
Coach, in relation to that, in all likelihood, you'll be clinching a ticket to the FIBA Asia Cup.
We're in already.
You're
We're in already. We just haven't fixed our seating yet.
Yeah,
but we've clinched a spot already.
Yeah, but coach, will at least be the preparations for the FIBA Asia Cup begin at least behind the scenes, or are you still focused on the qualifiers? Try to sweep it, win as many games as possible.
Well, it's all about logistics, I think, in terms of can we get the players together to practice. And we got guys in Japan, and we got guys, all over in Korea. It's very difficult to get the guys together. So, and then the ongoing leagues that are going on, the PBA, the B League, the Korean League. And so the only time we really get chances to play is when everything shuts down, and that's for the FIBA windows. So we're using the FIBA windows as our preparation to continually move forward for the FIBA Asia. So I'm not sure of the PBA and the Japan League schedule for the FIBA Asia in August next year. Whether we can have 5 days, 7 days, maybe 10 days, but I would think 10 days would be the absolute max that we would get to prepare for that FIBA Asia. In the meantime, we just talked about it, that we're not going to see each other till February. So it'll probably be 5 or 7 days before we have to go to Taiwan. So this is the process that we have, and we got to make the best of it. Again, it's just not a different style than what we were used to years ago, when we'd have one long tournament and we'd be able to, prepare for a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Just can't do that anymore. So we have to do it in the small windows. New Zealand, before they played us, had 2 days of practice as a full team, because they had their league going on also, and they couldn't get guys to all show up. So, because they were playing in Australia, they were playing in different parts of the world. So to bring them all together, they wanted to do it 5 days, I think, and they only end up getting 2 days. So with a new coach, so it was really difficult for them.
One last question available before we let our interviews go.
Hi, Coach.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about, prior to this window, officially, Mr. Alfrancis Chua became part of the team. What's your, of course, reaction to that? And how will he be, his importance to the school?
Well, I was very vocal about the fact, and I've been vocal ever since. In fact, when I first took the job back in January, I think it was, when I finally agreed to do the Gilas. I don't want to say full time, because I'm doing full time also in Ebra, but I originally told the SBP that I wouldn't do it unless Al Chua would come along with me, and so we tried to do that, but as it turned out, we couldn't, because Al was too busy doing all the things he does for San Miguel, and there was kind of okay, I'm not going to do it anymore because Al couldn't do it. But then Al really encouraged me to do it. And so I went ahead and did it without him originally. But I'd always been asking for him. And he's been there behind the scenes. He's always been there to talk to. I've always called him. He's come into some of our meetings at SBP in the past, just doing it on his own time. But finally, I think there was a lot of pressure put on San Miguel to let him to come in and help us. And so he's there now, and he makes the world of difference. You can even ask Carl. Sorry, are you Carl? Carl, okay. I'll ask Carl about it too. I mean, you'll see that the players react so positively to Alfrancis Chua. I mean, he's a player's guy, and he's so relational, and they know they can go to him, and he's just great, because he makes my job so much easier, that I can really lock in to just coaching, and he can take care of all the other stuff. And it's a nice partnership that we've been able to have with Ginebra as well, and it's spilling over to Gilas. So it's a special relationship that I have with him, but it's also a special relationship he has with the players that drives this team.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Carl. Congratulations once again. That'll be the end of this post-game press conference. We'll see you again this February for the third window.
Can I keep this?